until we can be with the parts of the system that hold the wounds, we don't know the stories they're going to tell us. One of the beautiful things about IFS is we don't go in there with a lot of, well, I know exactly this happened, so this happens. No, the system's organic. It's unique. Each of us are unique. So we go with curiosity when that individual's protective system will trust us enough and allows us access to those vulnerable, tender parts of the system that hold the wounds. They can tell their story, and that is healing. And we don't know the specifics of the story, but we can say we know there are wounds, because we don't have to have a strategy to numb pain if we're not holding any pain. So there's an unhealed wound. And just as if we had a gash on our arm that we didn't have any stitches or a Band-Aid, it would be painful. And the system's got pain in it. And at some point, whether that's because of early exposure to pornography, sometimes I've had clients who've been in a home where pornography was available, whether it's exposure through some friend in childhood who says, hey, look at this stuff. It can be myriad things. So I don't even want to name the specifics too much, because then people can say, like, well, no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Yeah. Something happened. And the system, a part of the system, adopted a strategy that says, if I engage in this behavior, it's going to numb the pain. It's going to distract me from the pain. I'm going to feel positive. There's some biochemical stuff, as you know.
Yes.
So the endorphin release of engaging in some of these behaviors and all the things. And so it becomes positive. There's a positive hit for the system. And then we're wired to keep doing things that have a positive result for us. And so it becomes more compulsive. Yeah. And then other parts of the system, so the secrecy. Because of course, there is some awareness that this is not okay. If they're in a spiritual community that says this is not okay, it's still, I mean, certainly there are communities where that's not going to be an issue, but most of us probably live in environments where that's not viewed as okay. And certainly not understood as adaptive response to trauma. So other parts of the system take on jobs to keep it secret. And those are more those managerial protectors, because there's an awareness of, if this is exposed, there's going to be more wounding. It's not just about these initial wounds that provoke the behavior. Now, if this is exposed, there's going to be more wounding. There's going to be rupture in important relationships and all the things that go with that, the shame, the judgment, all the things. So there are parts of the system that do what they need to do to keep it secret. And yeah. And again,
and there's also parts of the system that tell a story that it's their spouse's fault that they engage in this behavior. There are parts of the system that have a narrative blaming somebody else.
Yeah. And I suspect if most of us were honest, if we have any important relationships in our lives at all, whether it's with a spouse or a child or a parent or even a friend or coworker, we all have blamers in our system.
Oh yeah.
Because it's adaptive. When you think of this really helps us understand how we function. It is protective to blame someone else, because if I'm not blaming someone else for something, I have to take responsibility and get curious about, gosh, I've got a part of me who's doing this thing. I don't like to, that's why the spiritual discipline of confession is vital, because we're getting honest with ourselves and God. And if we can do that without judgment, which would be nice, that we can say, well, gosh, yeah, I'm human and I'm doing this thing and it's nobody else's fault. I have agency. I have choice. It can be something very, very difficult. There can be a lot of factors that keep it entrenched. And so it's not to say that just by shifting to ourselves, this is, oh, easy peasy, I'm going to be able to stop doing this. But yeah, we start when we enter the system with wherever they are. what is it as we bring curiosity, what is it we're hearing most? Well, we're stuck in blaming others. Okay, let's start there. Or we're stuck in that self-criticism, or we're just riddled with shame, just flooded with shame. Well, we're going to start there.